Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Let's see if we can get this not in frame, but a little closer. Sorry for the noise there. All right, I guess up a little bit. Maybe. Sorry, things are a little out of whack. It's been a while. Actually, I did do a stream before I left, kind of last minute. But last week was getting ready for Okinawa. So that was quite an adventure. The weather was saying a typhoon was going to hit them pretty hard. And so there was talk about canceling the event because the days that it was held were right when it was supposed to be the worst. And then, like always happens with typhoons in Japan, warning, and then it goes somewhere else, and unfortunately went back to the same place that the last big typhoon hit, which is near Tokyo. So the Chiba area was hit again pretty hard, and a lot of death this time from flooding, people trapped in their cars and their houses collapsing and things. So I'm sure all the temporary repairs were undone and people's houses were even more damaged. So they're still missing and fatalities, so that's not good. But what that meant was that they could hold the event, and it was totally normal. Nothing was affected by the weather. My pressure is a little strange. But the show was good. It was held in a building, a hall that had no air conditioning because it was just like a basketball court. It was like a double basketball court. So they had these really huge fans, maybe almost 2-meter diameter, kind of industrial fans in each corner of the space. And I guess maybe, during basketball games or whatever, that kind of cools the space down. But because this is a show, a Comic-Con, basically, and everything is paper, they couldn't turn them on very strong. They were very low setting. So all it did was kind of just move the stink around, and so the weather was fine. It's not so humid there because of the seaside, and the weather was about 30 degrees Celsius, so that was fine. But then you put 20,000 people in that space, and very, very quickly it became unbearably hot. And all of the people that were handing out the Japanese fans, all the people that were handing these out as promotional items were mobbed, and nobody, so everyone was just using their tickets and their badges and everything to fan themselves because the air was just thick and hot and miserable. So it was Comic-Con / sauna, as one of the promoters said. So that was a little rough. And the second day was a little hungover. So yeah, dehydrated and hungover and super sweaty is not a great thing to be. But yeah, it was a good show. It was interesting. I had never been to Okinawa before, so this was my first time, and it felt different than, I don't know, it was as I imagined it, and it was also a little more sad. It just feels like an occupied country with such a huge American military presence there, and the military that's living there don't feel, I don't know, and I don't know that many military. I've only been on, I think, one other Air Force base before in my life, and the people that are on the base don't feel like they don't live in the community. They don't live where they are. So they're using, credit cards or, US dollars on the base, and for the most part don't speak the language. At the worst, they have to drive a Japanese car, or, because if you want to own a car, the options, I don't think there's a lot of import. But a lot of used cars and a lot of used furniture. And so I think when the families relocate or restationed, when they're stationed in a different location, they give up a lot of things that they had. And so there's a lot of used kind of recycle there. But but it was a great show. It was well run, and just a little sweaty, and the huge food concession, and there was a lot of fried Oreos and very American style things. So I had a funnel cake, which I don't think I've had for maybe 15 years. I mean, I don't think I needed a funnel cake, but I had one, and that was a very nostalgic taste. But I think it's the same magic that happens with the Krispy Kreme donut. You get that grease, and then you put sugar on it, and those when grease and sugar kind of fuse together and are still warm, it's amazing. But it was a good show, and good people, a lot of good customers, and there were a couple of things that I didn't expect that I ran into, and I put on Instagram and I think Twitter as well. There's a lot of awareness of domestic violence in the military, and because it's stressful living abroad, and these are a lot of young people, a lot of young couples. And so there's an awareness of that. So there were posters and things talking about domestic abuse all over the base. And so having a cartoon called Domestic Abuse, I don't think that wasn't going to win anybody over. And it was interesting. Some people were very cautious. So my Mistakes, Misdeeds, and Misunderstandings book was very carefully looked at. And when people saw a domestic abuse collection, some people laughed kind of nervously, and some people were like, oh, is this a charity book? So I guess there's a lot of awareness in the military about domestic violence, and so that was something that I wasn't aware of, and didn't know what I was kind of walking into with that. So that was a little funny. So people laughed at the cartoons, but the name, I think, was enough to just scare everybody away. So that was a very new thing for me. That hadn't happened before. But also, this is the first time in many years that I've had that cartoon in front of an English-speaking, I know a younger English-speaking audience. So it's interesting. So even, I would consider probably the military as more conservative and maybe less sensitive to certain things. And people were very aware of that title, and it stood out very much. So the title stays. It doesn't matter if nobody reads it. It is what it is. It's not going to be something else. But that was a very new experience. And it was also interesting to have actual, live rounds, live ammunition at a Comic-Con, because the military police and security were walking around and they all had their sidearms, and a lot of people had their cosplay plastic weapons and swords and things. And there was one cosplayer that was that had a pistol of some kind, and she was pointing with it. She was gesturing with it, holding it in her hand. It was very interesting to see the training of the military, where people were instantly, like, as soon as their guns pointed at them, they're flinching, and they're not, that's not what you should be doing. So right away people reacted very strongly. So that was really interesting. The first time I'd seen that before, and right away she was told, don't do that, you're making people really nervous. So it speaks a lot to their training. I was very surprised. Yeah, interesting. So I don't think, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it definitely wasn't a show that I was perfectly suited for. So it went okay. Sales were okay, but I think I would have done better at different shows, because both of my things. So the domestic abuse cartoon, people are like, why is it called that? And then Citizen Spaceman, I guess, sounds a little communist or a little socialist, the title. So people were just like, what is that? So yeah, I don't know. So it was interesting. So my branding was not optimal, I don't think, for that show, or my, the branding for my different books, but that's what they are. So, sorry, it's not like they're going to change, but still, it was very, very new to have people have those sorts of reactions. But good crowds and a lot of kids. They promote it because there's a lot of families on the base, so they promote it as a family event. So they don't want things to get too sexy or too, violent or anything. So everybody was warned ahead of time to be careful with their content. And there wasn't anybody doing anything particularly weird. A little, some pinup kind of stuff, but nothing revealing at all. So very safe for kids. And I was kind of happy. That was an interesting experience. Kids at the table reading the Spaceman comic and getting it, the gentleness and the kind of simple tone of the story really worked okay with kids. So that was nice. I didn't have to feel weird or embarrassed, because sometimes my domestic abuse cartoon just doesn't it doesn't make any sense to kids at all. There's just the sense of humor is too mature. But it was nice. Kids could kind of connect and be interested in the spaceman. And a lot of the kids, the parents are mixed couples, Japanese mom and American dad. So they're, trying to get their kids to read Japanese. But a lot of kids, they weren't on their cell phones, but a lot of kids that were just not interested in anything that was going on. Their parents took them to a Comic-Con, and they're just like, whatever. And so the parents are trying to show them maybe something. So maybe they're, parents are a little more comics fans or pop culture fans, and the kids just are not. They're Minecraft fans or whatever. They're into something completely different. And so it was interesting to see the parents not able to get their kids to respond to things. And yeah, that may speak a lot to how terrible comics has done to attract a younger audience. I don't think there are a lot of people, under a certain age that have any interest in reading a comic book. It's just not, it's not a thing anymore. Maybe digitally, if they were kind of forced to deal with it, but yeah, that was a very surprising thing for me. It's just kids seeing comic books and going, whatever. Yeah, it's not just not in their, kind of, What I'm trying to say, it's not just not in their life. It's just not part of being a kid anymore. I'm sure comic books and baseball cards have disappeared from kids' bedrooms, which is a very interesting sign of the times. But a lot of very disinterested kids that were there. Some kids interested in dressing like heroes, like superheroes, but I think it's basically from the movies. So really cute, like Miles Morales, Spider-Man, and his mom. So she was wearing scrubs and had Morales' name tag on her scrubs, and her son was dressed as Miles. So that was very cute. There were a couple of really, fun cosplay families. But, for the most part, it was not a lot of comic fans. I mean, there's definitely more anime and game fans now than there are American comics fans. So I don't know if the movies killed it or the movies are the only thing keeping it alive. It's interesting. Because the animation, a lot of people know, X-Men and things from 90s cartoons. They never read a comic. And those cartoons included a lot of famous storylines and stuff. But they're terrible. They're garbage, American TV animation. And that's, not so dominant anymore. So the movies are the only way kids are still aware of superheroes. And the movie versions are very different versions. So, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen and where the interest will go. But I saw a lot of kids that didn't care at all that they were at a Comic-Con. And they had I think it was the Marine Corps that hosted it. That was the sponsor, or the host of the event. And so the Marine Corps band was playing. They had them on a small stage in the middle of the show. And I don't know if this was intentional, because they got a laugh, and so it kept happening. So I don't know if they were doing it on purpose or what. But they basically played the theme to Star Wars, the theme to the Avengers, that Avengers Marvel theme, and Back to the Future. They played this over and over again. But the very beginning, I don't know if it was just because they were warming up or whatever, but they would hit that beginning of the Star Wars theme and then just kind of stop. So it was like this nerd blue balls thing that just kept happening again and again. The first time they did, people laughed, and then they played a little further into it, and people, kept laughing every time they stopped. And then finally they played all the way through, but it became a little... They broke the rule of threes, let's say, and they just did that a little bit too much. And so you heard people ha 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 every time they stopped. Because I guess, that is such a big, a grand, amazing theme, and it's so familiar to people. So when you just kind of stop in the middle, it's very like, shave and a haircut kind of, you need the end of that song, or Sticks Come Sail Away. You need the end of that song. Or you need kind of a complete thing. So, oh my goodness. So there was that. But it was nice. It was nice not to have the big canned show or the people singing or just dancing to tracks like they have at the Tokyo Comic Con. That place got a little noisy and a little, irritating. What people were playing or putting out over the PA was pretty annoying. But live music, a live, band sounds much nicer, and it filled that space very nicely and made the no air conditioning a little bit more tolerable. But there was a lot of cosplay and a lot of you could tell it was military, because it was like, Joker with a crew cut, and a lot of people that had obviously the military hair, but incorporated it into their cosplay. But so not a bad thing. It was very enjoyable. And I found out that, there's a lot of other small Comic-Cons kind of springing up around Japan, so I'm going to take advantage of that and see some more of the country. But Okinawa is very beautiful, very Hawaii-like. It's just the overwhelming military presence. It's like a shadow cast over everything. There's only some areas where you can kind of get away from the fact that there's this military base everywhere. Like if you're driving along that main highway, just again and again and again, you just see gates and barbed wire fence, and just the higher level. Of course, it's a military base. They have to have a higher level of security, but it makes you very overly conscious of that. And then also the military aircraft, kind of making their noise. So that, in some parts of the U.S., people are very used to that kind of thing. But it just felt weird, kind of a tropical paradise, and then just the military presence. So I don't know. So I definitely have more sympathy for the protests, because it does feel very much like an occupied country. Like they're just there, and have a lot of immunity, and but like this Comic-Con was an example of them doing kind of community outreach and really trying to do something for the local, to benefit the local people, like holding events, because the events are available to people with DoD IDs, and then anybody that's a Japanese citizen. So that's nice. And there were other posters for, musical events and things that were coming. They were doing a Christmas thing. There was a Christmas show coming up later. And, doing stuff to kind of bring American kind of Western cultural events there. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how... it's a strange feeling. It really... was different than I thought it would be, but at the same time kind of what I expected, and why I wasn't all that interested in visiting, just because that ever-present just that presence is not all that comfortable. And it's the same thing I felt with San Diego. Like they have, they have a lot of Navy coming into port, and there's a base nearby or something. But there's a lot of kind of invasion of the bars by sailors, and so when you drive into San Diego, you see bail bonds, because so many people get arrested for fighting with these guys that they need to be bailed out. But so that's pretty funny. The gas lamp district of San Francisco, which is, kind of where you go if you go to the Comic-Con. If you go to San Diego Comic-Con, that's kind of where you go for dinner and drinks and stuff, is, constantly visited by groups of, haven't seen a girl in weeks, guys. And so that's a little bit of attention. So, yeah, I can imagine, or I can imagine it's kind of the same feeling for a lot of locals there. They can get invaded. But much more of a like Hawaii, relaxed island culture. So they talk about there's Okinawa time. So things take however long they take, and so there's the less of the punctual. Super emphasis on punctuality and things like and they call it the mainland, so they call Honshu, and I guess Hokkaido might be included in that, but they call it the mainland, so that sounds very Chinese. But I'm from the mainland. I live on the mainland. People are saying that a lot. I'm like, oh, okay. But I guess I call it that because it's different enough. Sorry, culture and the feeling are different enough, and A&W. There were A&W restaurants everywhere. I didn't get a chance to stop at one, but I'll let me drag. But what I remember so much about A&W is it's a car hop or a drive-in, restaurant. And so people come, you drive your car up and you park near the little speaker, and or people come out and take your order, and sometimes on roller skates, 50s style. And then if you're inside, then all the tables have a telephone, so nobody comes to your table if you go inside, and you just telephone the kitchen and place your order. So those are the funny things I remember about A&W. The other thing I remember is the food not being very good. But so A&W is all over Okinawa. And then on the base there was Dunkin' Donuts and Burger King and some of the stuff that's not so prominent in Japan, and something else. Yeah, but it was fun. Very short trip. But I'm just happy that it didn't get totally destroyed by the weather, and I still feel very bad for the people that had to have another horrible experience with typhoon season. And this is very, very light. The typhoon season is only usually restricted to September, so very late this year. Both the rainy season and the typhoon season extended much later than they usually do. All right. So just trying to come up with another idea here. Oh, and a lot of tattoos in Okinawa. The main drag had many, many, many tattoo parlors, and there were many tattoo artists that were talking to me at the show. And so then it's because there are a lot more Japanese with tattoos. So I wonder if that's a temptation for people that visit Okinawa on holiday, Japanese that visit Okinawa on the holiday. Temptation to get a holiday tattoo, because you do see, you're starting to see more and more, but still, the public baths and swimming pools and things are still very, don't show tattoos. And I think even for the Rugby World Cup, they asked athletes to cover, during the national anthem at least, to cover their tattoos. So yeah, it's an interesting kind of culture clash that's happening. But it seems like more and more it's getting modernized and not treated so much as only criminals have tattoos kind of thing in Japan. But I was surprised. Lots of shops. And so when I first saw that, I was like, wow, is that all for the American military? But no, there's a lot of Japanese with full sleeves and a lot of ink. All right. Oh, okay. So this is a very off-schedule stream, so apologies for that. But thanks so much for watching. And if you're watching this in the archive, please take a look. There are weeks and weeks and weeks, almost 2 years now, of live streams. So you get to hear all kinds of wonderful things. So I'm not sure. Oh, wait. Where are we here? Not sure what I'm using here. Coffee can is kind of the wrong scale. But I think it works. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a weird sound in my headphone. Hopefully that's just some kind of weird bleed or something, but I hope you don't have that on your end. All right. this probably should be bigger. Yeah, that scales a little bit better. All right, so what's going on here? Let's see here. Oh, actually, let's see what the... I don't think it's going to match, but let's see. I had a... yeah, it's way off scale. I definitely should just redraw. All right. Yeah, something like that. All right. Yeah. I like that. Let's scale everything up a little. That works. Okay. Tremendous pressure. Let me just do this so I don't, because I'm going to be talking and distracting myself, so. Let me just write this down so I don't forget. All right. Okay, something about a relaxing Sunday morning. Okay, and these guys, whoa, these guys need much more. Yeah, maybe like there. All right, so I think we've got a couple of things going on here. Okay, so let's switch over to the comments. See if I got this all set up and take a look at what people hated about last week. All right, let's take a quick look. So I'm going to switch and switch. Okay, there we go. Okay, so remember from last week, they seemed unwilling to become a 13-pack just for him. Okay, from October 10th. Ooh, 5 comments. How many I don't get it's? Okay. 1 pin, 6 likes. Found happiness at the bakery where he where he became a baker's dozen. That's good. That's a good one. Whoa. 13 wouldn't be a pack. It would be a coven, which they are not qualified to be. Well, these are good. Oh, for Christ's sakes. The real reason 13 is considered unlucky. They're watching their cardboard footprint. Oh, there's some good ones here. Is it working? What? There we go. Yeah, some really good ones here. I like the spelling of for Christ's sakes. Nice. Wow, great comments. Oh, wow. Real reason 13 is considered unlucky. Wow. Lots of comments. I'm sure everyone is wondering what happened to the cartoon for this Tuesday. Let's go back one. So this is the other one from last week. October 8th. Cookie dough. The spoon and cookie dough only found true love once they abandoned the baking process. All right, some likes. I once knew a sous chef who ate raw cookie dough all the time. I never liked him, and I hope he got worms from it. That's a funny comment. I only eat homemade cookie dough, and I don't use a spoon. Whoa, Ed. I practice ancient martial art cookie dough. Nice. Wow, great. Okay, so dare we venture into the world of random? Okay, let's see how it goes. There we go. Look at the fast food here. Oh, donuts. It's actually donuts. Less than a dozen donuts were only ever in an unsatisfying bag. I don't care how many, as long as they are fresh and flavors I like. Nice. All right. Uh-oh, here we go. Coffee from a vending machine was not what they expected. And he could now add toast to his list of achievements. And he was so proud. 5 years ago comments. Nice. All right. Okay, one more. 2014, maybe no. Oh, one comment. He was reassured that now everything was cheaply made, poor quality, and disposable. Now everything, maybe emphasis on that. All right. Something he'd done for a long time. Oh, 5 years ago. All right. Well, let's flip back over to the drawing part. Boom. And color some of these. All right, so this one's going to be mostly orange. Yeah, that works. And so this is a little, yeah, darker, more saturated. Maybe actually more lighter is nicer. Yeah. And same with this. No, this can be brighter. Okay. And so just maybe the cap on this guy. Oh, maybe green. I've seen that a bit. Wow, right on the border there. Okay. The labels I'll do separately. So maybe just do white. No, 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 no. All right. Yeah, something like that. And a big label. Something like this. All right, I think that works. Maybe a little 100%. Okay, so this one I did maybe do a little bit brighter version. Is that too yellow? Oh, that works. That should work, right? Oh, there we go. So that would be the banner where it said pulp or some pulp. All right. Yeah, I think that works. Let's see if I can get some decent looking shadow. So here, maybe here will give us the look we want. Maybe around the label a little bit. All right, and the same here. Should probably turn all that off. Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't need that. All right. I think that's got it. Let's try a little white on these edges. Yeah, I think that works. And a little bit of white. All right. Okay. Okay, and let's try these guys. So I'll do the pink LA donut box. I haven't done that in a while. Oh, and I gotta do it bright. It's gotta be bright. A little darker. I guess actually, yeah, it can just be that rich red. Yeah. And a little gold. Sorry. Wow, I'm sure that sounded horrible on the audio. Sorry about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think lack of sleep and lovely airplane air is probably, I'm fighting something. Alright, let's just do a nice green. Maybe here is green too. Yeah, that works. All right, and donut box color can actually be gray inside. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. Now my nose is running. Oops. wonderful cold and flu season is coming. They said that's the biggest thing about the increased tourism in Japan is that we're going to have 2 flu seasons from now on because so many people are bringing new wonderful things with them when they visit. Because people travel sick and they just don't care. And there's no way to screen for that except by temperature. Yeah, they can see people that have fevers, but they can't see anything else, any bacteria or viruses you're bringing with you. So feel free to bring all that stuff with you. All right. So here. All right, something like that. So anything, I guess I can do some highlights. Some of these guys. There we go. And some drop shadows. Okay. All right. That works. Maybe a little lined on the side here. A little boop. Coffee. There we go. All right. So before we write these, let's switch over to the Combini segment. All right. Whoops. Okay, there we go. Okay, so just a quick pickup. So this is a very strange character. This is just, goods related to a character that I believe is on NHK here and is being supported with some toys and things. But this is Chico-chan. So Chico-chan is this costume character. Like, it appears on live television as this giant, and there's not really anything to see scale, but probably about a 5 foot tall mascot costume, giant head and everything, and the face itself is animated. So I think live, maybe there's like eyes for a placeholder, maybe no mouth or just a little line for a mouth, so that the live actors are interacting with it. But it's like a TV panel talk show or whatever, and I think they ask this character question. So it's a person in a costume, but they're mapping 3D onto its face, so the eyes are very shiny and expressive, and the expression changes, and the mouth and everything changes. So while the character is talking, like whoever does the voice it has their voice shifted to a real high, digital high pitch, but the face of the character is changing. So things like this, so angry expressions and things are very common, and I think they're done digitally overlaid, but it's very confusing. It's a very odd style, but I think Chico-chan gives advice and has a very funny, cutting way to say things, because the little logo for her thing, I can't read it now. It's so small. It says, don't sleep through life. So yeah, kind of motivational speaking. But anyhow, this is just Chico-chan candy. So let's see what this is, and I'm sure there will be a sticker in here or something. So what's the best way to open this? I don't see any sort of notch. Is there? No. Oh, it's on the bottom. Oh, I guess you don't want to rip across her face, so the notch is on the bottom here. All right, so we're opening it from the upside down from the bottom, and here's the, yeah, so maybe there's a sticker in there and some candies. So these little, oh, there we go. Yeah, little candies, and always has her Chico-chan words of wisdom on it. Yeah, so maybe Osaka Ben style? I'm not sure. It's NHK, so. It's just a candy, but also included. So they're just little hard candies. Little hard candies with a little logo on them and different fruit flavors. And also included is the sticker. So let's see what kind of little humorous sticker we have. So it's just the bird. Some bird character with, I guess, yeah, some place for you to write your own message. Now that is amazing. Wow, it's not even Chico-chan. It's just a bird sticker. Wonderful. Now that is worth my 150 yen. Yeah, so just a hard candy, which I'm probably going to be sucking on for the rest of the live stream. I apologize. Oh, I didn't even see if what the texture of the thing was. But so this is the character. And so you can look for videos of this on YouTube. If you just search Chico-chan in katakana, maybe even at Romaji, it comes up. Although when I searched, I got some odd, there's a couple of similar sounding names in other Asian. So I got, yeah, some other actors and people coming up because it is a simple name. But yeah, Chico-chan should bring up, one of the results should be this crazy looking kokeshi haircut character girl. So you can see here, there's her full body right there. So she's dressed in just kind of a little girl's kind of pink dress, but a real giant head. Like her head is like, 4 feet across. It's just this huge thing. And so very much like a mascot costume, but with this very active digital face on it. So it can be very expressive and have like a lip sync that goes on with it. So it's probably a live voice actor. It performs this with a distorted voice, and then the mouth matches, what they're saying, based on some software. So a very odd high technology character. So using a mascot and doing weird high technology things. So that is Chico-chan. Hard candy. Let's go back and do some writing. All right. So this is it. So yeah. So I wrote down some of the basic idea. I didn't want to forget it. To make Sunday morning exactly what everyone was expecting. He was under tremendous pressure to make Sunday morning exactly what everyone was expecting. All right, poor little guy. I don't need 2 periods. I think that's close. Yeah, he was under tremendous pressure to make Sunday morning exactly what everyone was expecting. Okay. Coffee. And So lots of pulp. I don't even know if they still say that. Some pulp, lots of pulp, mostly pulp. He thought having lots of pulp would get him closer to real oranges. He thought having lots of pulp would get him closer to real oranges. He mistakenly, maybe that would help. He mistakenly thought that's a long one. He mistakenly thought that having lots of pulp would get him closer to emotionally distant real oranges. Yeah, I think that works. He mistakenly thought that having lots of pulp would get him closer to real oranges. He mistakenly thought that having lots of pulp would get him closer to real oranges. And he was under tremendous pressure to make Sunday morning exactly what everyone was expecting. All right. Yeah, I think that works. Wow. So that, how are we doing here time-wise? Yeah, we're over an hour. So that's going to do it for this week. I apologize for being a couple of days off on schedule, but I was totally out of it after getting back from Okinawa. And this was the next possible day that I could be here for a live streaming. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching if you're seeing this from the archives. If you'd like to follow this cartoon, Abuse Cartoons is on Twitter at abusecartoons, abusecartoons.com, and at gocomics.com/domesticabuse, all one word. And if you'd like to support, patronize, support, get involved with this cartoon and make it happen more often and more beautifully, and get yourself some original art or signed books, please visit patreon.com/abusecartoons. And I'll be back again next week, hopefully on my regular schedule. That would be Sunday night, North American time. And until then, I will thank you very much. And also thank you so much for my current patrons for supporting this cartoon. It wouldn't be possible to do this live stream without you, and it keeps me at it every single week, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to get involved, please check out that Patreon. I will be back next week with more cartoons and more things from convenience stores. Until then, goodbye.